up, everybody? How you doing? It's Marshall Couture, also known as Plex of MarshMakesArt.com, and this is day 23 of 100 Days of Making Comics. Woohoo! um, if you don't know, 100 Days of Making Comics was started by Kevin Cross and continued by himself and many others. And it's just an awesome challenge that gets us off our butts to make some cool stuff. And you're more than welcome to join in as well if you have a comic idea, or I mean, I even was trying to do it with art paintings and stuff like that. And you can do it with all kinds of different goals, but primarily a lot of the people tend to do comics because it just happens to be the community that started it and stuff. So I guess. Anyways, I'm working on my comic, 12 stories, and it's basically a story containing 12 stories, and there's a 12-story apartment building, and each story of the apartment building has a story. And it'll all connect together. Some of them will connect more intricately or whatever, have more meaning or whatever, and then others will just connect in a small way. But they will be 12 individual stories. Right now, I'm working on one of the main parts of the whole story, and it's fun. It's interesting. It's called Sophia the Conqueror, and it's going to be a fun little story, but with some depth, So I'm enjoying the process. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. I kind of have an idea of where I want to go with it, but the specifics is what I'm working out right now for that one. And it's going well. And one thing I was thinking about that I didn't talk about yet is if you've been watching, the first story that I wrote was a story called Here Kitty. And on that one, I sent it over to some friends and stuff to have a look over. And one of the critiques that I got from everybody, or I shouldn't say critiques, but just something that people noticed, was that the twist at the end was like super unexpected, which is the effect I want, but I don't know if it was unexpected in a good way or not. And it's really hard to get people to look at your stuff when it's a comic and you just show them the early stages of writing, and those of you who did check it out, I seriously, I do really appreciate your feedback. So I just I'm a little bit not sure if there's something I should change in this specific point. And I totally, I'm not, this is the first draft, so, it will go through some changes and things, so that'll be good. But, the thing is really what I would kind of feel like I want people to review is the actual drawn comic, because that's really the final writing, But at that point, if there's any significant changes, it becomes very difficult to make those changes. Because, you don't want to have to redraw things over and over again. That just will add crazy amounts of time, So it's hard to, like, there's certain effects you just won't get from, the basic simple writing. And I tend to write in a, the typical way that Stanley describes, the Marvel way or whatever. That's how I like to kind of go about it. or how I have so far. So the way I actually heard him, I was watching um, a documentary on Mobius yesterday, and I heard him describe that method as like, it's like a detailed outline, and that's kind of pretty much how I write these comics because I have the outline and it gives me all the cues and stuff that I need. But if I'm drawing it, I also know what's in my head, so I don't have to like write every little thing down. You know what I mean? So in that way, people don't necessarily get the whole picture. And that's what those who have read it have admitted to me. Like that's true. Like they can't really see it 100%, but they understand what's going on. So how do I get the feedback that I might need? And they did bring a good point up though, because that's the thing. Like this surprise at the end or this twist at the end, it's like how like it might not be coming across correctly, even when I get it finally done, how do I make it come across the way I want it to come across? Basically, it's kind of like the whole comic, or at least the beginning of the comic is more like of a lighthearted action type of thing. And then it kind of gets um a little more serious or somber as it goes. And then but at the end, by while you're leading up to the end, you don't really think of it as like anything too serious. You just kind of think it's a kind of somewhat lighthearted action thing of a cat. um and then at the end it hits you with something pretty serious, and it's like, am I doing that wrong? I may be. I'm a very inexperienced writer. So I don't know. I am trying to kind of have almost like a Hitchcock feel, at least to some of the story, but where it's like fun action. I do want it to kind of have some fun action. I do want it to be a surprise, but I don't want it to be the kind of surprise that's like that, you don't like the story because the surprise hit you in a way that just there was no way you could understand it. So, or you didn't feel like you were prepared for it, I guess. So it's tricky because how do you prepare somebody for a surprise but still have it be a surprise? You know what I mean? So, and also tell a good story that conveys the thoughts behind it. Because what I am trying to express with it is kind of like the juxtaposition between two things, one being kind of a scary, fearful thing, and the other being, you know, what it, the good things that it takes to deal with that kind of scary stuff. Um, so, it's tricky. So I guess I'll just figure it out. Eventually, I'll just have to pull the trigger because I don't want to like, this is more of like a learning experience type of thing, and I don't want to like belabor it to the point where I don't get it done. You know what I mean? And that's another thing I was thinking is like, um, one thing that I struggle with is decision making, even in life sometimes, but also just creatively, sometimes I get stuck and kind of paralyzed because I can't make a decision because I want it to be perfect or I want it to be right or just I want it to be really awesome. Um, and I don't want to get stuck in that either. So, and there's a lot of decision making in comics. So at some point, I'm just going to have to decide. But again, I do want to make this a good story and I want it to hit in a way that I intended if possible. Um, so I don't know. That's some of the things I'm thinking about. And I'm still excited and I can't wait to see how it all turns out and get to the art part and all the different things. I mean, every part of the process I'm interested in and really diving into. So it's going to be fun. For those who did read it and gave me feedback, again, I totally thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm glad I was alerted to the fact that this surprise maybe needs a little more preparation. Or also another thing that one of the people brought up is, visually, maybe I can create the tone. And that's a good point, because visually, the way I was thinking of going about it wasn't necessarily creating that tone. So that's definitely something now I'm thinking about. So all that stuff, feedback added to my thought process of how I'm going to approach it. I think I'm not going to send, and this isn't because of the feedback, this is because of what I'm figuring out of how it works. I'm not going to send scripts of each story to people. I'm just going to, when it's all scripted out and for the most part close to finalized, before it's time to start drawing, when it's all done, I think that's when I'm going to start sending it out to people and getting opinions, because I want people to have a more complete picture, so that their feedback will be more helpful, So not that this feedback wasn't helpful, it was, but I don't want to like now that the story all connects, like it didn't before when I first sent these out. Now that there is a lot of connection, I want to make sure that things are being clear and some of the connections and foreshadowings and things are working the way that I intend them to. And yeah, there's so much to it. It's going to be kind of an intricate thing to craft, but we shall see. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and coming along on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. I love hearing the comments and feedback and your thoughts. And thank you for all the likes and subscribes. I've gotten some more subscribers and all that stuff. If you want to support, please feel free to continue liking, sharing, subscribing, all that stuff. And if you want to connect with me on other social media, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, just about everything. Snapchat, I'm on all of that as Marsh Makes Art. And you can find most of those links right on the front page of marshmakesart.com. Shout out to all the people doing the hundreds. Really super inspiring to see your guys' progress, and I'm enjoying going along the journey with you as well. If anybody would like to connect more with some of the other people doing it, check out the links below. There's the Facebook group and the Tumblr website that connects, that has links and things to people. So that's about it. Thank you guys. You are awesome, and I'll talk to you on the next day. Peace out.